That's right, I said what no one else dared to. Today, I decided to do the impossible. In this video, I'm going to do my absolute best to convince you that the controversial, the infuriating, the relic of the past HMs need to make a comeback. Let's get right into it.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Now, I know HMs need no introduction, but I think in order for me to convince you how they're necessary in a Pokemon game, we need to briefly go over what made HMs a certified hood classic, as well as what made them stink and smell. We'll also cover HM replacements implemented throughout Gens 7 through 9. Although I tried my very best to keep this as objective as I could, at the end of the day, this is all rooted in opinion, and just keep in mind, I really tried. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. HMs. I want to go ahead and do something I don't think I have ever seen another YouTube video do. Talk about the pros of HMs. After a lot of workshopping, I managed to boil it down into 3 things. They're immersive. I actually need to teach them to my Pokemon. They appear on the screen to fulfill their command, and it really makes me feel like I'm on an actual adventure and these creatures aren't just for battling, but for helping me explore hidden and secret locations and pathways, and traverse tough terrain. Now, I know this one's pretty subjective, but hear me out. All I'm gonna say is, with pretty much every NPC having less than a full party except the champion, I don't think leaving one of your team members in the box to traverse the mountain or whatever is all that bad, and actually encourages you to think outside the box. Me personally, I don't usually have a full team of 6 until near the end anyway, so I've never really minded. Also, moves like Surf, Cut, and Fly may not be great competitively, but they are usable and pretty good for a standard playthrough, so you still have options. For a game whose motto is gotta catch 'em all, it's very rare for a trainer to complete the Pokedex or even catch more than the Pokemon they use on their team. Personally, hunting for Pokemon that can use certain HMs makes me feel way more connected to the world of Pokemon, tying into my first point. Picture this. You're stuck in a cave, and none of your Pokemon can learn Strength. It looks like your journey is completely at an impasse. You were not properly prepared for this, adventure, and you're paying the price. So you bebop around until you find a Pokemon that can use Strength and continue on your way. Who knows, you may end up being impressed by its moves, stats, or design enough to incorporate it into your team. The possibilities are honestly endless. Compared to today, where once you pass certain checkpoints, the solution to your obstacles is always at your fingertips and ultimately undermines the point of the obstacle in the first place. Tying into my second point, look at me go. Alright, you made it. Stop frothing at the mouth. I'm done talking about the pros of HMs, and at this point I think we're all very well aware of the downsides. So I want to gloss over real quick the pros and cons of other mechanics from Gen 7 through 9. Starting with the Alola's Ride Pokemon. Right off the bat, I'd say they were convenient and aesthetic. The fact you could ride around on Pokemon as opposed to the standard black blob sprites was fantastic. They were also just easy. Once you had them, and could overcome obstacles and travel quickly with ease. It also really blended well with the tropical and easygoing theme of the islands. You still felt like you were exploring the region, but in the same way when you're exploring the African safari, you bet your ass you're taking those carts instead of walking. And I mean, when Pokemon fans see Pokemon in the overworld, our neurons just start firing. Moving on to Galar, we got the Rotom bikes. It's a bike that can swim. The Rotom Dex was a really cool feature that I thought should stay in Alola, but then they gave us Rotom phones, Rotom bikes, Rotom... and it just felt a bit overdone, especially in back-to-back generations. Like, come on, we went from BMO to knockoff Jarvis. I think one of the biggest issues I have is the fact that Galar doesn't really have obstacles, so the adventure aspect just isn't really there in a sense, because I'm not chopping down trees and smashing boulders to make my way through this world. I'm taking a fucking bird taxi. And don't get me wrong, it was a nice change of pace to see I didn't need to look up how to solve a particularly annoying puzzle, but it definitely made the world feel a lot more developed compared to even other more urbanized regions like Unova. And that isn't really great considering the environmentalism themes that Pokemon is grounded in. Also, the flying taxis we see in both Galar and Paldea have some nice touches, such as the different bird Pokemon utilized in different regions, but ultimately it falls flat for me because outside of convenience, it's just lame. There's not even a cutscene like in previous games. You just black screen, see a stupid animation in the corner, and boom, you're there. Awesome game. But yeah, Rotom bikes, they're very middle of the road for me. It has its pizzazz, it has its pitfalls. He's trying his best, okay? I gotta say, I actually think these may be the best replacement for HM so far. Originally, I despised them as you literally got the box legend 10 minutes into the game, but they gave a system of progression, adding challenge to the flow of your journey. It was fresh, although I will say it definitely did not come without its, problems. Also, nitpick, Lack of diversity. Ride Pokemon, multiple options for different jobs. Different Rotom machines for your using. Flying taxis had different birds depending on the region you're in. But you're telling me I can't use a Cyclozar like everyone else if I wanted to? I don't care they can't fly, he's adorable! So now that we've briefly covered all HM replacements as well as the OGs themselves, how does this justify the return of HMs? Well, all these new systems have some common factors. It excludes your own team, it gives you no reason to catch Pokemon, and let's be honest, it makes things easier, but that may be a good thing. So how do we take all these beautiful pros of these systems and combine it with the OG system? Modernize the HMs. Honestly, if you think about it, it wouldn't be that hard to keep HMs in the game and just get rid of some of the cons. Here's what I've cooked up. What if we brought HMs back, but did not make them take up a move slot, but instead just turn them into skills your Pokemon could do? Furthermore, since HMs like Surf and Fly sometimes actually are a Pokemon's best move, just make the HM more naturally learnable by a wide variety of Pokemon, but you still need the HM itself as a sort of mastery of the skill to be able to use it in the overworld. Similar to how you can teach and use HMs in battle, but cannot use them in the overworld until you get the badge. Instead, you just need the HM to use it in the overworld, but it doesn't take up a move slot, and you can use it in battle by having a Pokemon learn it via level up. So from that alone, we've increased the diversity of move pools, made team building easier, and although a little difficulty still remains, as you still need Pokemon that can learn the HMs, you're much less limited in your team building, as any of your Mons that can learn the HM can learn the HMs without consequence. If you want to take this a step further, maybe Pokemon that know both the move in moveset and the HM technique version get a buff in base power or secondary effect to that move. This could add on even further to the immersion of your journey, giving you an opportunity to have your Pokemon master certain moves and especially buff some of the weaker HMs like Cut and Rock Smash. Oh, also, they should just make a bunch of Pokemon rideable in the overworld, especially when you're using HMs like Surf, Strength, or Fly. To me, this seems like a perfect blend of old and new. And what's more is, I know I'm not just reaching with my idea because Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee did something very similar with your partner Pokemon learning all the HMs you need as techniques and having you able to ride a bunch of different Pokemon. Yeah, maybe I should have added that in the pros and cons list in hindsight, but there you have it. Although I would be interested in seeing more variety throughout the vast world of Pokemon and how their citizens handle transportation, I'd honestly be thrilled to go back to our roots for a bit and see a system similar to the one that I just described, to allow our journey to remain immersive, our path set with obstacles, and our nostalgia goggles tightly affixed. Or, you know, they'll just keep doing stuff like this. And no, I did not forget, thank you to these 9 beautiful subscribers for funding this video. Become a channel member for a bunch of perks, join my Discord, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you again. I really do appreciate all your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're the GOAT. And play Cobblemon with me. Bye. Next video, I'll put the membership things at the start of the video again. I low-key forgot, I'm sorry. Something funny to end the video. Here.